All right, fold your hands. Listen to me closely. Let's first go over what this week lays out for you, okay? So today we're going to cover distribution and combining like terms online. Tomorrow is going to be a one-step equation worksheet. Then on Wednesday, we're going to start in the book. So Wednesday is a book assignment. Thursday, we'll correct that book assignment. You'll have an online. Friday, you'll have a book assignment. So Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, you need to bring your math book. And I'm going to tell you, next Friday, I think it's Friday, it could be Thursday, you have a quiz. Okay, sections 1, 2, and 3 will take a quiz next week. I think it's Friday, it could be Thursday though. I'll let you know for sure by the end of the week. So a lot of people said to me, Ms. Hoff, how do I get better? How do I raise my grade? It's daily homework, making sure that you're here every day with your homework done, asking questions, asking for clarification. You guys do a pretty good job of that. Some of you, it's a little thing to work on. Ask me for help. I don't care. Okay? You don't ask for help and you continue to get it wrong, that's when there's an issue. I'm not asking you to be a math genius. I'm not even asking you to love math. But try your absolute best. Push yourself to be your best. Okay? All right, today's notes. We're going to actually talk about the distributive property and combining like terms, which you did last year. I just got to bring it to the front of your brain so you remember what you're talking about. So the distributive property says you are going to multiply each term inside the parentheses by the number outside the parentheses. We are going to multiply each term inside the parentheses by the number on the outside of the parentheses. So there's this setup here. The number we'd be multiplying is A. And you're multiplying, they don't put the dot in there, but when the number is right next to the parentheses, it tells you multiplication. The biggest thing for today, write down your signs. Everybody's like, I can do this without showing work. And those are the people that end up having to do multiple problems. Those that take the extra 30 seconds to write down the problem usually get it correct in the first try. So yes, you're required to show me work today. So this very first problem says we're going to multiply. What number am I going to distribute through those parentheses? 2. A little bit more specific. You're not wrong. What type of 2? A positive. Rebecca, how do you know it's positive? Perfect. Always seems like a silly question, like, oh, it's positive, because there's not a negative in front of it. Okay, so it's a positive 2. So we are going to take positive 2 times positive 5. Now, what type of 2 was it? Positive. So write positive 2 plus 2 times A. Now, I put a 1 in front of that A just so when I'm multiplying, I don't forget that there's a 1 there. Now, why, Ms. Hoffer, you keep saying positive 2? Because that tells us what sign goes between our two groups of numbers. Don't just have numbers floating around there. Make sure you have a plus or a minus sign in there. What is 2 times 5? 10. What is 2 times 1A? Positive or negative? Positive 2A. Why do I ask? Because that tells us what goes between 10 and 2A. If it was a negative 2A, this would be a minus sign. This is the step that people are like, Ms. Hoff, I don't need to show that. I know how to do it without that. I'm going to argue that. Okay? In the end, it's going to be best that you show me with signs. Make sure you have plus and minus signs in there. So the very first thing you need to do on all of your problems today is to use the distributive property to remove the parentheses. And a problem like this is why I'm so particular about showing your signs. On this one, what am I distributing? Very good. A negative 7. So we write negative 7 times negative 6u. Then we're taking a negative 7 times negative x. I'm going to put a 1 in front of it, okay? Negative 1x. Then I'm taking a negative 7 times positive 4. Nicely done. Nicely done. Make sure your line of work is the same as mine. It will help you when you're multiplying and keeping track of those signs. Okay? Make it look like mine. Don't use an X for multiplication. It should be one line like mine is. Your note should look identical to mine. Okay? Now we multiply. Think before you shout. -7 times -6u. Positive or negative? She says positive 42. Anybody else? Just don't forget the u with it. Nicely done, Aspen. A negative times a negative is a positive. A -7 times a -1x. Grady? Positive or negative? He says positive 7x. Agree or disagree? Nicely done. A negative times a negative is a positive. And the very last one, a -7 times 4. Aiden? -28? He says -28. Anybody else? Nicely done. Very good. So having those signs tells you, well, am I adding 7x or am I subtracting 7x? Am I adding 28 or am I subtracting 28? Depends on your plus and your minus when you multiply. Nicely done, you guys. Try the next one on your own. The one right below that, do the same exact. I should see one line of work, then your answer. What am I distributing on this one? Positive or negative? Positive 8. So I would have 8 times 2. And then what type of 8 was it? So plus 8 times, careful, careful, -1v. This minus sign belongs to v. And I always put the 1 in there so I don't lose it. 8 times 2, 16. 8 times a -1v, -8v. Okay, writing your signs down, then you don't have to go anywhere but just your multiplication will tell you your answer. Don't make a huge mess because we're going to come back and use this space. We're not going to do this problem. Okay. Oh, wait, hold on, don't get scratch happy. I screwed that up. Cross off 3/4, make it -5. Distribute -5 on that one. Sorry. Cross off the 3/4, distribute -5 on your own on that one. So I'm distributing -5. So I'd write -5 times -5 times 3, thank you. A -5 times -8w. At this point, this original problem should be useless to you because you have everything written down in that line. A -5 times a +3 is -15. A -5 times a -8w. Positive or negative? Positive 40w. So your goal is that you really don't need that original problem because you have all of the information in that line of work. All right, flip it over. Along with distributing to get rid of the parentheses, we also have to combine like terms. Like terms are terms that contain the same variable to the same power. The same variable to the same power. So they have to have the same letter with the same exponent. An x and an x, a y and a y, a p and a p, an x squared and an x squared. So we're going to have things all written out, and we're going to group them together if they're alike. So like on this very first one, the expression negative 4x plus 12 plus x. Are there any like terms? Are there any groups of numbers that have the same variable to the same power? Grady. Okay, the only thing I'm going to not really change, but make sure you remember, negative 4x, and I'm going to keep that plus sign with my x, because that's going to tell us how we combine them. Really, there's a number 1 in front of that x. And so people always say, okay, Ms. Hoff, I know these are like terms, but like, do I add them or subtract them? I said, do exactly what they tell you to. Negative 4 plus 1. What is negative 4 plus 1? No, we're not laughing. That is the absolute worst thing you can do. If somebody makes a mistake, you will help them. You will not laugh. Negative 4 plus 1 is negative 3. But don't lose your x with it. And then positive 12 doesn't have anything to combine with them. So you end up with negative 3x plus 12. Okay? 2a minus 7a. 2 minus 7 is negative 5a. These are why we reviewed integer rules a few weeks ago. 6.6y minus 3.7y. 2.9y. 2.9y. This is the one, sorry, scribble this out, but don't make a huge mess. We're going to put a different problem there in just a minute. So really what we're going to get to are problems like the very bottom here, where we are going to have to first distribute to get rid of the parentheses, and then we will combine like terms to make it as simplified as possible. What number am I going to distribute on this one? Careful. Aiden? Negative 5. Take that negative sign with it. How does he know that? Because it's right next to the parentheses. Now, negative 6x out front. Don't lose him. Just drag him straight down, because right now, we're not going to do anything with him. We just know it's negative 6x. Then we're taking negative 5 times, say it again, 3y. Then we're going to take negative 5 times negative 6x. Question, do I take negative 5 times negative 4y? Why not? Perfect, perfect. It's not in the parentheses. It's exactly what you want to say, but don't lose him. So drag him down with you. Minus 4y. So the first guy, negative 6x, is going to stay, and minus 4y is going to stay. On your own right now, multiply these two and find me these two terms. On your own, real quick like, multiply those two. Somebody I have not heard from today. Negative 5 times 3y. Alexis. Excellent. Negative 15y. Somebody else I haven't heard from. Negative 5 times negative 6x. Spencer. 30x. Positive or negative? Very good. So plus 30x. Make sure you have a sign between all of these, because that's going to tell you if you add or if you subtract. If the number is positive, it's a plus sign. If it's negative, it's a minus sign. So then this is where Ms. Hoff's shapes start coming out. I'm going to put a circle around negative 6x. Is there anything else that could be combined with negative 6x? 30x. Positive or negative 30x? Positive. Okay, everybody think before you shout. Negative 6 plus 30. 20. Positive or negative? Positive 24x. I'm going to put a rectangle around negative 15y. Is there anything that can be combined with negative 15y? Negative 4y. Do exactly what it says. Negative 15 minus 4. Negative 19y. Negative 19y. Your signs are so important when you're multiplying. I want you to try one more on your own. So go up where you scribbled that problem out. Write this one down. Negative 3 parenthesis 7 minus 2x, close the parenthesis, minus 3y plus 5. Oops, that should not be a y. X. Sorry. Wrong letter. Distribute to get rid of the parentheses, then combine like terms. And I'm going to check with you in just a couple of minutes. Distribute, watch your signs, and then combine like terms. What number am I distributing? Negative 3. So you should have written negative 3 times 7, negative 3 times negative 2x, and then drag down minus 3x and plus 5. Those don't get multiplied because they're not in parentheses. Somebody I have not heard from today, negative 3 times 7. Zach? Negative 21. Negative 3 times negative 2x. Sage? Positive 6x. And then I'm going to drag down minus 3x and plus 5. Watch your signs right here. A negative times a negative ends up with a positive. Can I combine anything with negative 21? Which one? Plus 5. Good job saying that. So negative 21 plus 5. Negative 16. Nicely done, Brant. And then we have 6x. Anything to go with positive 6x? Negative 3x. 6 minus 3. 6 minus 3 is 3. Positive or negative? Positive 3x. Okay. So the biggest thing is you've got to watch your signs. And I'm going to tell you right now, everybody's going to say, Ms. Hoff, do I have to show work? Do I collect it? No. Are you going to be able to do this in your head? No, so you're going to need to write it down. There's lots of scratch paper, but those that actually write it down, 9 times out of 10 only have to do the problem once, versus when you think you can do it in your head and you have to do it multiple times. Set your pencil down, set your paper down, fold your hands, because I have a check mark thing that we're going to do right now. One of the greatest things to show your self-improvement, because we know we talked about we're not all math geniuses, is to be able to show yourself growth. How you didn't know this when you started versus what you know. And I wish I would have done it with chapter 1. Your guys' test scores were phenomenal. I think you surprised yourself even, like when we first started it to versus what you did last Friday. So what I'm going to have you do today is you're going to take a pre-test. It's on Alex. It's 6 whole questions. So don't hurt yourselves, okay? So you're going to log into Alex. You're going to click on the chapter 2 pre-test. It's 6 questions. Folks, are you going to know how to do them? You might know 1 or 2 of them. But it's okay if you don't, because it's a pre-test. I want to show this is where you started. And then after we went through a couple weeks of lessons, this is where you ended up. I'm going to tell you right now, don't spend more than 10 minutes on it, right? Don't stress about it. If you don't know it, give your best guess and move on. Once you have finished that, it's not going to show you a score. Then your combining like terms and distribution homework assignment will open up for you, which is due to 100% tomorrow, okay? So pre-test first. Pre-test first. It's okay if you don't know how to do it. Type in a number, click next. No more than 10 minutes. And then your other one will open up.